In this video, I'll be looking into the Jungian wise old man archetype, what it is and what purpose it solves, along with strategies using what we call the K masculine strategy. I will start using the term wise old man as it is easier to understand than masculine K strategy. You should probably also watch my RK selection and Jung's archetypes videos to quickly understand what archetypes there are and what they are for. The wise old man archetype is how our brains alter our behavior in order to survive in a stressful yet stable environment. The wise old man archetype can be described in three emotions, all of them related to admiration. One is being admirable, the second is being heroic, and the third being protective. Admiration is the emotion used to try and absorb some of the traits or behaviors of someone that appears to be following a certain set of behaviors, some of which we inherently know. Heroism is effectively the same thing as being admirable, but it is easier to understand parts of this archetype if we also look at it through the lens of heroism. Being protective is another emotion which is linked to being admirable, as protecting innocent people is seen as admirable and heroic. So let's break down what actions we actually find admirable or heroic. Sacrificing your life to protect innocence. This is the most admirable thing someone can do. Surviving a difficult task. This means you're adapted to the environment and should be copied. Living a long time. This is effectively the same as surviving a difficult task, just over a longer period of time, and is why we admire older yet healthy people more than younger people. Surviving with a minimal amount of resources. This equates to being skinny and healthy, as you are using less resources to survive, which means they can be shared around. Abstract intelligence. We tend to admire people who are spatially intelligent because what they usually say is usually a good idea. Verbal intellect is not really admired, as verbal intelligence doesn't really matter when you're trying to survive alone. Again, indirectly related to surviving a difficult task. Humor. Most humor is looking at errors, which is related to abstract intelligence. Being tall. This is like, look how tall I can grow and still survive. So it is related again to surviving a difficult task. Our phenotypic height is around 6'3" before it starts to cause issues with health. And skin color. Having lighter shades of skin means you're somehow protected from the elements, meaning you are better able to stand the environment or the sun. All of these behaviors and traits are part of the wise old man archetype, who is what many religious figures are based off. Jesus sacrificed himself to protect innocence and survive the difficult task of death. Horus survived the difficult task of killing the evil Set after his father was sacrificed. Gandalf protected innocence against Balrog by sacrifice, and Luke Skywalker was protected by the sacrifice of his father to defeat the Emperor. It is all a very common motif in stories. Admiration is based off the wise old man circuit in our brain that dictates what traits we know survive over time. Traits that survive across time and generations are the traits the environment is selecting for. This is why this archetype is associated with God, as the traits that survive are what the greater environment has chosen. God would be someone who can survive forever, knows everything, can't be killed, and can manipulate the environment perfectly because he knows everything. This archetype is very present in humans, as we are currently the first organism on Earth that is closest to the wise old man. Because of our intelligence, we are able to act more like the wise old man. People will follow the wise old man archetype in stressful yet stable environments where hard work across time is rewarded. Unfortunately, our society has softened up a bit, making more people behave in what is called an R-feminine strategy, or Baphomet, or the deceiver archetype. Mutations stacking up across generations also leads to a softening effect of the gene pool, making more people follow the R-feminine mutant strategy. Fundamentally, the K masculine archetypes are traits and behaviors that are adaptive. That sums up the archetype, as it is the extremes of being adaptive to all environments. In a way, the traits that are selected for are what the environment chooses, or what some people might consider a higher power, that define the rules of the universe that allows for the selection of those traits. This is another reason why God is associated with this archetype. Is this behavior adaptive and healthy in good males? Is the question you should ask if you want the answer if the person is following the wise old man archetype. On the final note, the reason why we think God is a male is because of this archetype. This archetype is masculine because males tend to follow it as a group, largely because they are more disposable and don't have as much of a fertility cost if they die. You can't have females that are willing to sacrifice as the fertility cost is much greater. While there are still admirable women, men are slightly more admirable on average, which means all the outliers are men. This is why the archetype in humans looks like a skinny, tall, old dude with a beard. In a way, the wise old man is the god of adaptation.